Let's take a look at the relation of the feeds towards the URL. For this, I've created this demo dashboards where I have a drop-down feed on top with 2 elements, and selecting an element loads some parameters below it, and at the bottom an alarm timeline. Take a good look here in the URL. If I make a selection, you'll see that another element is specified over here. So that's basically the ID of the element. It works in both directions. So if I change here to the first one, you'll see that the first one is selected again here in the dashboard. With this, we have a way to push some data into our dashboards via the URL. And that is where URL feeds come into view. So remember, we have next to the normal feeds that come with feed selector, we also have here at the bottom the URL feeds. The URL feeds are always available, and they can push all types of data from the URL into our dashboard. We can use the URL feeds in the same way as regular feeds. So if we select one of the outputs of our URL feeds, we can link it as a filter to one of the components. And for another component, we can use it, for example, as data. This makes the top component here obsolete, so we can as well delete it. So let's do that. And then we can use our URL to make a selection of the data. So if we select another element, we see that we get the parameters from that specific element now loaded also, and also the alarm timeline of that component. And if we change it back, for example, we see different values and a different timeline. Let's take a look at another example. In this example, I have drop-down feed on top with some bookings. And if I make a selection, I see the different nodes and how they are connected below. We can change the linking again to the URL feed. So if we select it and link it, we can delete our booking selection here on top and make the selection from the booking, from the URL. If we apply it, we see again the nodes and the connections that are linked to this specific booking. The typical use case for URL feeds is when you embed your dashboards into another application. For example, in Visio, let's say you have an element Visio file and you have the ID of your element in a session variable. Then you typically want to link that selection or link that session variable to a selection here in your dashboard. So typically what you do is you create your dashboard with a regular feed selector like a drop-down. You configure everything so that your dashboard works well. And then you take a look at how the URL looks like, try to find the element selection in there, and then replace it with the dynamic part from Visio, for example, your session variable.